Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to Social Science online teaching classes from Vishwamanava Residential High School. I am Mahboobi, your social science teacher. My dear students, the previous class we have discussed what is the meaning of natural resources and what are the types of natural resources, what is scarcity of resources, and what are the main important factors of scarcity of resources, and what are the results of scarcity of resources. We are going to discuss the previous class in the lesson natural resources. Now let us continue part of this lesson, that is the need for conservation of resources and how to waste to reduce our ecological footprint. We are going to discuss in this class. Okay, my dear students, let's start conservation of resources. First of all, we understand what is mean by conservation of resources. Understand? My dear students, the rapid increase in resources use and the degradation result in serious problems to the mankind. The degradation result is very serious problems to the mankind. We may not get poor water to drink. We may not get clean air to breathe. Many resources may be very tried, the biodiversity may decline and the earth itself may become a waste. How to address these issues? It can be done through conservation of resources. We may not get poor water to drink. We may not get clean air to breathe. Many these types of resources may be very tried, the biodiversity. Understand? It can be done through conservation of resources. My dear students, what is mean by conservation? Conservation means it is prevention of wasteful use of resources. That is called as conservation. Prevention of wasteful use of resources. Then what is mean by conservation of resources? Conservation of natural resources means not to waste them, but use them judicially so that there is a balance between nature and our use of natural resources is called as conservation of natural resources. Understand? The natural resources, conservation of natural resources means not to waste them. First, not to waste them, but use them judicially so that there is a balance between nature and our use of natural resources is called as conservation of natural resources. Understand? Then conservation has been defined. It is the management of biosphere. Conservation, it is the management of the biosphere for the benefit of the life including mankind, so that it may be yield sustainable benefit to the present generation while maintaining this potential to meet the needs of aspiration for the future generation is called as conservation. My dear students, conservation means it is the management of biosphere for the benefit for all life including mankind. Then sustainable meeting the needs of present generation and meeting the needs of a future generation. That is called as conservation of resources. Then another meaning of conservation of resources, that is prevention of wasteful use of resources. It is also called as conservation of resources. Understand? Then conservation of resources is the responsibility of all of us. How can we do it? You can do it by adding the 4 resources strategies. My dear students, conservation of resources is a responsibility of all of us. How can we do it? You can do it by adopting the 4 strategies, 4 resources strategies. First of all, we understand what is meant by 4 resources strategies or 4 R's strategies. 4 resources strategies or 4 R strategies, it is the strategy for conservation of resources. It is strategies for conservation of resources. One is reduce, second one is reuse, third one is research, fourth one is recharge and regenerate. Is called as 4 resources strategy. 4 R's strategy. Understand? One is reuse, second one is reduce, third one is recharge and regenerate, fourth one is research. Reduce, reuse, recharge and regenerate and research. These are 4 resources strategies for conservation of resources. Okay, my dear students, let us discuss one by one. First one is reduce. What is mean by reduce? Reduce means to minimizing the use of resources and their wastage, or trying to use less amount of any resources. It will be also reduce pollution is called as reduce. Minimizing the use of resources and their wastage, or trying to use less amount of any resources is called as reduce. Understand? For example, take a pollution. You can reduce the air pollution by reducing the use of your vehicles. Then let's move to reuse. Reuse, this is very simple. It is use again. It is very simple but effective, made to conserve resources. Every resources had not only alternate uses but can be used multiple times. It is very simple but it is very effective to use conserve resources, that is reuse. For example, the water that was used for bathing can use by for grading. Waste paper can be conserved into packing materials. Then third one is recharge and regenerate. Recharge and regenerate means taking steps to allow the resources to grow through human effects. Then all all rainwater harvesting affects recharge. Groundwater afforestation recharges tree stock and biodiversity. Taking steps to allow the resources to grow through human effects, that is recharge and regenerate. It has fully human effects. Then the last one is research. Research to find renewable alternatives and non-renewable resources. To search renewable and non-renewable resources. That is research. To find a search. To find a search for renewable and non-renewable resources. For example, solar or wind energy is renewable and alternative to the energy we use. For example, solar or wind energy. These are the conservation of resources of 4 resources strategies. One is reduce, second one is reuse, third one is research, fourth one is recharge and regenerate. Reduce, reuse, research and regenerate and research. Then the conservation of resources accept has been realized by all the countries. We have adopted the principles of sustainable development, that meeting the needs of present generation and without compromising the needs of a future generation, that seek to achieve development in such a manner that the resources and environmental quality are conserved for use of future generation also. Now, my dear students, let's move to reducing our ecological footprint. Very important concept. How to reduce our ecological footprint. My dear students, given the limited resources of the planet Earth, how much of pressure is the mankind putting on it? That is a major question. Resources of a planet Earth, how much pressure is the mankind putting on it? Is there any ways to measure the overall impact of human activity on the earth environment? The World Wildlife Fund World Wildlife Fund has derived as a measure called as ecological footprint, which gives an idea about the extent of the consumptions of resources and waste generation by a country or individual in a country. My dear students, the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, World Wildlife Fund, has derived a measure called as ecological footprint. The ecological footprint, which gives an idea about the extent of consumption of resources and waste generation by a country or by an individual in a country. That is ecological footprint. And this indicator is an estimate of amount of space on earth that an individual uses in order to survival using existing of our technology. Then This space includes the biologically produced land and water. Then the produce of the resources consumed by the individual such as food, water, energy, clothing and building materials. Then it is also includes the amount of land and water required to estimate the waste generated by that person. Then, my dear students, in other words of the ecological footprint, it is measure a person demand on the biocapacity of the earth is called as ecological footprint. Measure a person's demand on the biocapacity of the earth is called as ecological footprint. Then, my dear students, World Wildlife has defined a country ecological footprint as a sum of all the cropland, grazing land, forest and fishing ground required to produce the food, fiber and timber it consumes to absorb the waste emitted when it uses energy and to provide space for infrastructure is called as ecological footprint. My dear students, World Wildlife WWF has defined a country ecological footprint as a tracks the use of 6 major categories of productive surface areas. 6 major categories of productive surface areas like cropland, grazing land, fishing ground, forest area. It uses energy and to provide space for infrastructure is called as ecological footprint. Understand? Then, what are the suggestions to reduce our ecological footprint? That is the major question. What are the suggestions to reduce our ecological footprint? First one is stop wasting food. Stop wasting food. Then reduce our use of single use. Reduce our uses. Plastics. Reduce plastics. Then switch to renewable energy. Then eat less meat. Reduce our waste. Recycle responsibility. Drive less. Reduce our wastewater. Support local. These are the very major suggestions to reduce our ecological footprint. Very important. Once again I repeat, what are the major suggestions to reduce our ecological footprint? One is stop wasting food. Stop wasting food. Second one is reduce plastic. Third one is switch the renewable energy. Fourth one is eat less meat. Fifth one is reduce our waste. Sixth one is recycle responsibility. Very important. Then seventh one is drive less. Eighth one is reduce your wastewater. Fully to reduce our wastewater. Fully to reduce our wasting food. Then recycle responsibility, drive less and support local. These are the very major suggestions to reduce our ecological footprint. Understand? My dear students, WWF World Wildlife Fund report is Living Planet Report of 2010 to 2014. The global ecological footprint was 18.1 billion global hectare. 18.1 billion global hectare. Then this means the earth people needed 18 billion hectares of productive land in order to provide each and every person with the resources they required, and they fully support their lifestyles and reduce the waste and they produce. My dear students, if the size of ecological footprint is to be reduced, each and every has ecological footprint and they contribute to the enlarging of a total footprint. In the beginning, it is the individually unless we start bring away of our own ecological footprint. The most important thing is to raise awareness about the issues. That is the major important thing, to build a awareness of our society. Starting from ours and this spreading the information to our closest. You will have a bigger influence on and anywhere on everything. For example, if you start recycling and tell your family, why you are doing that? First, they will start recycling. And that news has spread to the neighbors and our family members. That is the major important to raise awareness, to build awareness of our society. Understand? It can be make a big difference and to contribute a lot to reduction of ecological footprint. My dear students, very important. What can you do to reduce our ecological footprint? What can you do to reduce ecological footprint? Take a first food. Buying organic food or locally grown produce. I would like to buy organic food. Then have a kitchen garden. By doing this, you cut down on polluting from shipping, fertilizer, packing, etc. Your food is fresher. First one is buying organic food. I would like to buy organic foods. Then have a kitchen garden. By doing that, cutting down the polluting from shipping, fertilizer, packing, etc. Then after your food is fresh. Then I will keep my own bags to the store. Bring your own bags to the store. Understand? I will keep my own bags. Then by eat fewer produce foods. Produce foods have been packing before coming to our table. By eat producer foods. Then I eat less meat and dairy. Then I eat at home instead of ordering out. These are the reduce our ecological footprint in food. Now, let's move to energy or electricity. First of all, put off all lights when it is not in use. Then turn their air conditioner and heater off at night. Get outside. Outside activities are fun and take less energy. Keep doors and windows shut when heating or cooling the house or car. These are the energies to reduce our ecological footprint. Then transportation. First, walk or ride your bicycle to school. Take public transportation. Carpool when where are you going to? For to walk. Transportation. First of all, to walk or ride your bicycle to school. These are the reduce our ecological footprint of transportation. Then creating less waste in any kind of products with the least amount of packing possible. As for no bags, when you buy something you can carry without one. Then recycle as much as possible. Mend things that are broken. Donate old items to someone who can use. By items, it can be used over and over. Reuse water bottles. These are the creating less waste. Then water. First, turn off the top while brushing your teeth. Very important. Turn off the top while brushing your teeth. Don't put toxins down trimmed rinse. Run only full loads in our dishwasher or washing machines. Put a brick in your toilet tank. It saves thousands of liters of the water a year. Use Indian type toilets. These are the water reduce our ecological footprint. My dear students, very important. What are the steps would you like to conserve energy use in your school, at home? Very important. What are the major things? What steps would you take to conserve energy in your school or at home? First of all, as a student, I put off all lights when not in use in our school. Then turn the air conditioner and heater off all at night. Whenever there is a chance, I will get outside for fun because it takes less energy. Understand? Then I keep doors and windows to close when heating or cooling the classroom. These are the steps would take the conserve energy use in your schools or use in our home. Then the last important concepts to reduce our ecological footprint, that is community. Community, educated people in the community about their ecological footprint and what they can do to make it smaller. The educated people in the society about their ecological footprint. Then it has joined a group that works to make local rivers and streams Get involved with a recycle program. Do an energy of our school and see how it can be save money and electricity. Then try to calculating your school's ecological footprint and get classes to work together. These are the some very simple steps we can make a big difference to conservation of resources. These are very simple steps we can make a big difference to conservation of resources and reducing our pressure on environment. Because the Mahatma Gandhi ji has said, be the chance you want to see in others. Very important. If you get the chance, you will want to see the others. It is very simple steps. We make a big difference to conservation of resources and reduce our pressure on the environment. Okay, my dear students, in this class we have learned how to need for conservation of resources, what is the meaning of conservation and what is the meaning of conservation of resources, what is the meaning of 4 resources strategies. How many 4 resources strategies? One is reduce, second one is reuse, third one is recharge and regenerate, and fourth one is research. Then how to waste to reduce our ecological footprint. These points we have learned in this class. Okay, my dear students, in this lesson, natural resources lesson, we have learned what is the meaning of resources, what is the meaning of natural resources, and what are the types of natural resources, what is mean by scarcity of resources, what are the main important factors of scarcity of resources, then what are the major results of scarcity of resources, then the need for conservation of resources and how to waste to reduce our ecological footprint. These points we have discussed in the lesson natural resources. My dear students, the chapter is completed. Okay, my dear students, thank you.